Hey everybody, Sam here. As you well know, the holidays right now are a super busy time of year, and consequently the gang didn't have time to get together to record a podcast. I know we really should be stockpiling our episodes, and we've thought about it, but it just hasn't happened yet. Maybe this will be the incentive we need to start, but whatever. Anyway, we're not going to leave you empty-handed for December. Between the fact that we want to put something out, and that iTunes is still only posting our most recent 19 episodes. We're trying to get that figured out. Hopefully we will. Anyway, between those two things, we're going to play an In Defense of Bad Movies classic. And since it is Christmas time, we are presenting you with Loren's encore defense of the 2000 Jim Carrey crap fest, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. But before we do that, I want to plug some stuff. My improv group, The Upperclassmen, has our Christmas show this Saturday, December 12th at 8 at the Long Beach Playhouse. And we're having a special Upperclassmen After Dark show on Friday, December 18th at 11 p.m., also at the Long Beach Playhouse. You can get your tickets at the Long Beach Playhouse website or at the door. There will be filmed shorts written by yours truly at both shows. And if I can ever get the software to work properly, my animation debut will be at the holiday show. So check those out. Aside from that, there's the regular plugging of checking out our Facebook, rating us on iTunes, following us on Twitter, all that good stuff. And since this is our last episode of the year, even if it is a repeat, we at IDOBM would like to thank you for another year, actually the first full year, of your listening. If you're new, well, thanks for that too. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun for us, and we're gonna keep doing it. So without further ado, here's our take on How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Our dear sweet Loren liked a certain movie a lot, but the rest of our group most certainly did not. We're charitable folk, so we'll give her a chance to explain why it's better than a Grimmy Grum Grants. She'll argue without logic, without taste, without reason. Open your hearts, she will say. It's the holiday season. There's a doggy, a Grinchy, a whole lot of hoovies. It's the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. We're in defense of bad movies.
It's such a Merry Christmas with my candy cane. I feel like celebrating with my candy cane.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast.
What's up?
Hi.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy Kwanzaa,
Happy Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, etc.
Festivus.
Merry Christmas.
To all you Jehovah's Witnesses out there, happy whatever day you're listening.
Tuesday.
Nice. It's when it comes out Tuesday, I'm assuming. That's when they'll listen. I'm Sam Bowen. You got Loren McJanet Taylor over here. Hi, Loren.
Sam.
Hi, Bobby Mattern.
Hi, how's it going?
Laura King.
Hi.
Good. How's everyone doing?
Doing pretty great.
We are
filled with the holiday spirit.
Right? I know, right?
Guys, I don't know what's going on. I feel so warm inside.
I'm sure. How could you not?
You just had a sandwich.
That's true.
why.
It had jalapenos on it.
We are gathered here in a very brisk evening. It's raining outside. It's very Christmassy. As Christmassy as it
Christmas
gets
rain,
in
yes.
the LA metropolitan area. And we watched. There's some dispute over what it's actually called, but it's apparently called The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, the 2001, not the terrific animated thing. But no, we watched the crappy movie.
Now, hold on. I feel like you're immediately editorializing. I think you're trying to turn the audience. We watched How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Ron Howard, starring the inestimable Jim Carrey.
The what? Inestimable?
The inestimable.
Okay, he is. I cannot estimate him at all.
Exactly. And you guys, you are welcome.
Thank you, Lauren. I just wanted to thank you.
I have
this
to
was
say,
the best Christmas gift
Thank you so much.
anyone could have given us.
Better way for us to usher in the season than with this.
Oh, I can think of about a billion ways.
I can't even think of one.
So, everyone knows the story of the Grinch, and Bobby might be having computer problems. We all know the story of the Grinch, and so we don't really need to get into a recap of that. But so we should go straight into the defense. What have you got to say? Explain yourself, Loren. Defend yourself.
You guys, I know some of the things you're going to bring up. This movie is a little crazy and hectic and chaotic, but I genuinely feel like this is a charming holiday movie. Obviously, nothing beats the Chuck Jones short cartoon from the 60s. That thing is perfect. The story itself is wonderful.
We agree, Loren.
Yes, exactly. And the movie captures that. It takes it into a different... I think it does. I really think it obviously is a film and has to add all kinds of different things. You have to extend the story out. And
Is it necessary to add a love triangle between the Grinch and two other Who's?
How charming is that? He has a full emotional life. He's got a full... He has a backstory. He has history. He's not just some Grinch on a mountain, and we don't know whether it's his heart or his shoes.
Yeah, he's Timmy from Passions.
Exactly. In a wonderful film role. And we get the story behind the story in this one, and it keeps some of the spirit and
but it's
the ideas
bad.
No,
so bad. It's
delightful.
It's seriously, I think, the worst movie we've watched.
I will say,
Laura, we watched Batman and Robin.
I know. I think I like Batman and Robin more than this.
Whoa.
I'm getting a converter.
Hold on now.
That movie was campy, and it was very enjoyable, but this movie, oh my gosh, I had to cleanse my palate and watch the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the cartoon.
You were inspired by this one because you had
one
such
could
a
say
good
that,
time.
sure.
Oh my god. It was
So it's cute because like they're the Who's, right? But the Grinch is what? Like I actually thought that was pretty clever. That was good. And we're good, right? I said something positive about the
I know,
movie.
actually.
All right, this
I
movie's
was
a
waiting-
mess.
I was waiting for
sure
the joke on that
that
one.
this movie is really racist.
I've
too.
got a few.
How is this?
Is it racist? There were not.
Yeah,
white dudes. I
because
never
he
thought of
yeah.
made
No, there was
mention
some who's
about
of color.
that. I
being...
mean, no non-white. Yeah.
No,
There
there
is-
was some who's of color.
There is that weird
The
scene though
colors
where
are
he
determinant.
can't get a cab because he's green.
Yeah.
It's
In
a
the kids'
concept.
movie?
This movie, and it does have it's a family movie with certainly some grown-up elements, but lots of
Like
movies
the
are guilty.
face planted into the breasts.
But plenty of family movies are
Our
guilty of
baby
that.
arrived, and it looks exactly like your boss.
So
Oh
funny.
my god!
I thought that was I thought there was a few funny lines.
I think there are lots of funny lines. But, I mean, and you can make that argument, but lots of young people movies have those jokes that are grown-up and potentially inappropriate, and this movie certainly had those, but they're subtle enough. If you're a young child, you won't get it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Where should
Yeah, I don't even know. Where do we want to
Oh,
start?
okay. So let's start with the rating it has on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 53%, and I think every
That's
one
quite
of those
big.
53% of the population
Yeah.
who like this movie are really. They must be watching a different movie
they
than I am.
probably. I think there is an automatic. It's a Christmas movie. We're gonna give them a few points toward good because
It's
everyone
great
loves
source
Christmas.
material. I can actually.
When I was
the Grinch, so.
when I was reading reviews, I was actually very struck that Jim Carrey's performance was I don't want to say unanimously, but for the most part, people were like, oh, he did a really great job. It's the rest of the movie that throws it. I don't really know what to make of Jim Carrey's performance as the Grinch.
I think Jim Carrey is wonderful.
I think he's terrible.
I think he has
I
moments of brilliance.
hated
And other
every
times,
second he was on screen. I just covered my eyes when he had his solo.
I thought he did a good job.
He was delightful.
I think the biggest problem is Jim Carrey is when he's full on. He's better as a supporting character, not the lead, because that's just way too much Jim Carrey.
But you get the full range of Jim Carrey being on and off for like a relentless hour and a half of.
This movie was clearly Ron
was
Howard
2
standing
hours.
back.
Was it?
Yeah,
It felt like 5. I kept saying like, oh wow,
I think it
we have
was
5 more hours
10
left
hours,
in this movie.
actually.
It was clear. I wonder how much of a script there was on his scenes and how much was like, let's just let Jim go and see what he comes up with.
And
It certainly was that.
let's take all of that footage and
Yeah.
put it in the movie.
The janitor did not need to go through the editing room to clean up the cutting room
He's
floor.
delightful. He's in this really good-looking but still complicated and constricting Grinch suit, and he brings it full fully to life. Like, his face is claymation, and he's a cartoon. He's a walking cartoon character, and it's really, I think it's incredible to watch.
I think my biggest problem with Jim Carrey's I think my biggest problem with Jim Carrey's performance is that they just let him go off on his own a little too much, and it's just like you wonder what he's doing. But I think
my biggest problem is that he's in the film. And then he's on screen all the time.
Oh, I thought you were just going to end it there. I do not want him in a film.
No, I like Jim Carrey, but this movie is
It did often feel like I was thinking like a Beetlejuice as the Grinch, you know, just like this really crotchety, weird...
But
like, he's not...
Which he would be.
He's not crotchety in the way of the Grinch. He's crotchety in the way of, like, Jim Carrey. Okay, so, what I was saying, my big problem is there's no sincerity in his Grinch, and like when he has to kind of pull off his turn toward the end. I mean, we're not going to do spoilers on this movie because there are none. I mean, everyone knows the story.
Yeah.
But like with Jim Carrey's performance at the end, when he has to do his emotional turn as the Grinch, you get a lot of like Jim Carrey kind of fake crying, like to the point where he's playing it for laughter and for since like it's just
there was no contrition at the end. He was still his old self.
No, and then
He apologized. What are you talking about? I mean, you're still essentially yourself when you have a great discovery, but he's going to approach life differently now. Huh?
But he doesn't.
Cut the roast beef. That's about it.
You're like, oh, he's a changed person, and then a second later, he's pointing at Jeffrey Tambor and being like a gloaty dick to him, you know? Yeah.
Well, he has a long way to go, obviously. He's been this misanthropic cynic for his whole life. But at the very end, his creepy hermitage in the mountains, he's invited everyone into it, and they're carving the roast beefs. He's learned the true meaning of Christmas, which is your family and friends. And he's inviting them into his life.
No one knows the true meaning of Christmas in this movie.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
Christmas
he
is
is
the
not
birth
the
of
only
Jesus.
villain.
No.
Well,
Okay,
not
if
in
you
this,
take
not in
it
this snowflake world.
If you take it in the secular world, so we're talking about...
Well, you know me, I'm a very religious person, so I do not take...
That
was a joke.
No, but if you take it on the level that, you know, Christmas is about just spending time with the ones you love and just celebrating, you know, just a season of, you know, basically togetherness and sharing in each other's lives, and this movie does none of that.
But that's the whole point.
But see, that's not the point of the Grinch movie, though. Or the Grinch book, you know.
Or even this Grinch.
No.
This Grinch does not care about the commercialism. He is upset. That's what upset me, too, was he was upset that he got crapped on when he was a kid by all the Who's.
Yeah, and for, like, not really any reason, for one time. Like, they made fun of him, and that's all.
I felt like that was, like, the straw that broke the camel's back. It had been doing it for a while.
He was always an outsider and never liked Christmas. They're all very big on Christmas.
So what softened his heart at the end?
But because
they gave up the commercialization of Christmas, which had really nothing to do with his motivation.
And then there's a moment
he talks about it.
He talks about it. That's not the reason, though.
Well, and yeah, the reason gets so muddled at the end. And there's a great moment in the cartoon that happens here in the movie where the sled with all the Who's presents is about to fall off the cliff, and the Grinch saves it because he wants to do something nice for the Who's. This is the cartoon. He wants to do something nice for the Who's. You know, the Who's have shown, like, the presents don't matter to them. They're going to be happy no matter what. They don't even seem to notice that their presents are missing. Mm-hmm. But the movie can't pull that off at that point because that hasn't been the point of the movie. So they throw Cindy Lou Who on top of the sled, so it's not so much a struggle of, like, oh my gosh, I can't let these presents go to waste. It's like, oh, I have to save a child because, you know, no one wants to see a child fall off a cliff.
Well, at first he tries to stop it. He's trying to stop the sled from falling, and he's like, I'm not going to be able to do it, but it's just presents. Does it really matter? But then the human element comes in.
The Who element.
That's the Who element comes in, and that's when he gets the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2 and lifts
By the way,
his head.
we've seen, I think 2 other times in the movie, we've seen Cindy Lou Who in perilous danger, on the brink of death.
And she was laughing.
Didn't he?
And the Grinch going like, and walking away. So if that's the arc, he's not willing to let a small child die.
Because
that's a hell of an arc.
Yeah, now he gets it.
No, but see, he doesn't. I'm okay with him saving because she was the only person who's shown him any kindness.
Exactly.
But just because they start singing at the end and don't need their presents, he should still hate them. They're still singing. For all he knows, they could be singing about what a douche he is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there's weird pacing in the movie. You know, you have this nice, concise children's story that is extended.
Just stuffed.
Stuffed with all this extra superfluous detail with the Who's and love triangles and the Grinch and whatnot. But then you go to a Whobilation, maybe 3/4 of the way through the movie, where Cindy Lou Who nominates the Grinch to be the
Cheermeister
for the town, for their little town, for
their
Whoville.
Christmas Eve celebration.
And then he realizes that they're still all very materialistic, and no one's changed.
They're more than that. They're sadistic.
And sadistic, yes. I'm putting it mildly, but yeah. And then he just goes off and decides that, he sings, the really terrible rendition of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
Oh, it's really bad.
It's so wonderful.
Nope.
It's such fun.
And then decides that he's going to steal everyone's present. It doesn't flow. I mean, you have this pivotal, crucial scene where he realizes there's still the same people, and then he goes and gets all their presents. But the presents, going to get the presents and taking them away, that's the crucial point in the book. And then you have it kind of stuffed in there with the Whobilation. And so it doesn't feel like the pacing's right in this movie. It feels like it's just all together. Like, let's just throw all of this to get at once at one point, and then, we're gonna...
I think it works out nicely. The Whobilation is this moment where he has an opportunity to become part of the town. He's at the celebrations and they're having fun. He's, in the sack race and knocking children over to win, and he's having a good time, and he has a chance to actually become a part of the town.
He's being force-fed pudding and fudge.
Which he...
That was horrible.
It was actually terrible.
You Who's are horrible people.
They're just really excited about Christmas. I actually hate those kinds of scenes when people are being forced food and it's, it looks like torture. But he has an opportunity to become part of the town, and they squander it by making fun of him, by reverting to thinking of him as an outsider. And the movie, I think that I love the point that the Who's have lost their way as well.
I don't think they do squander it. I mean, there's really nothing. He just gets upset because of this weird love triangle.
Well, no, they give him the shaver as the prize, which is a callback to this cruelty he suffered as a child when they were...
That
no,
intentional?
but it wasn't...
Oh, yes, I think so.
Okay, I thought so.
I mean, It was that he shaved, and he shaved himself as a child.
Because he wanted to look good for little Marthe Huguier.
Because he was 8 years old and had a beard. Do they think hair on the top of your head is a beard? He did not have a beard.
I know.
He had nothing
He had hair
on
growing around his jawline.
He had nowhere where he had the
Nowhere
little
where he actually had the
toilet
little
paper
toilet
things.
paper splotches.
He did not.
And that was the great injustice of his childhood that he's now revisiting. And I love that the movie makes the Who slightly the villains as well.
Slightly. Slightly.
Well, in that sense, they're victimizing him, but just in that they have become so materialistic, they have lost their way, and that in that moment he lives up a Mount Crumpet where they dump all their trash, and their trash is filled with all this waste and excess from
Which
Christmas.
he loves.
But he likes the trash, but I mean, it is exemplary of a culture that is just wasteful and not, he's an eco-friendly Grinch that he is.
Well,
there's a weird kind of...
He's very green.
environmental element to this movie too, and it doesn't work at all.
Well, it's a condemnation of all culture, of us ourselves. We are the Who's, and we have lost sight of the true meaning of Christmas.
I agree that's what the movie's saying. Like, yes, and the Who's are incredibly unlikable. And also the Grinch is incredibly unlikable. And why are we still watching this movie? 30 minutes in, I'm like, what?
Because we want them all to become likable.
Why do we want them to become likable?
Because they're funny for now, and then they'll get nice later.
Maybe they will in the sequel.
Maybe.
Making your only sympathetic character in the movie an extra precocious small child, who is fine. She's just kind of left hanging there in a lot of scenes.
I love her so much.
Taylor Momsen has one facial expression in the movie, and it's kind of like her mouth is open, and she's like...
the big teeth probably don't help.
Yeah, and she's like kind of smiling all the way through.
I think she's the cutest little button. She brings, she's not too excessively I'm a precocious child actor. She's kind of simple and quiet, and when she giggles in the face of danger, it's the cutest thing.
They have her sing that awful song. They have her sing that song, and I feel for her because it's like this tiny child actor singing this song and just totally left hanging, and you expect her to start looking off camera to the adults and say am I doing this right?
I'm gonna pause you for a second, and I'm gonna say she's not cute. She is not a very cute young child. She's in that weird, awkward stage of she's just not a cute little child.
Yeah, her teeth were pretty big.
Her nose hadn't grown in though.
No, she's in that weird, awkward stage
and I like
where they're not little kids they're just precocious, or but they're kind of like in that weird before their teen angsty age, so I think she's kind of like in that weird realm. And I mean, kids, I'm not saying that they're not cute at that age. I think that you can be super cute, but she is not good for this role, and she's not.
I think
she's charming.
I think as Muppets go, she's fine, but it's a lot to hang on her. Like you're
because no one can carry that movie.
The entire movie on her.
I think the song is it is a bad choice. It's not a great song, but the delivery of it and the message we're trying to give with her little tremulous girl voice, like somehow it takes the cheesy "Where Are You" Christmas song and makes it genuine. And she's actually singing about all of us. Where has Christmas gone? It's not like when we were little, even though she's quite young to be having such an existential crisis. But we all have felt that. Why isn't Christmas like when we were kids? And it's all about growing up and sadness.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to grow up.
It's pretty.
You have to admit, she was much cuter than she will be in about 10 years when she has that hideous Who face.
The choice to make Cindy Lou Who look almost like a normal person, I actually felt stupid. I didn't realize that all the children had those huge, massive teeth until like the last scene of the movie. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. But yeah, no, I mean, she has to look like a human because we can't have the hero of our movie look like a monster.
All the kids grow into their noses, but maybe it does make her a little bit more accessible. The kids can identify more if she doesn't have the
noses were horrible.
That's what Who's look like, yo. They are following the books.
I think that they didn't really go for it. If they were going to go for it, they
go for it.
No, they certainly. I think they certainly went for it.
That's one thing they went for.
No, I think that if they really wanted to make them look more like Who's, they would have done more makeup.
But
on
you
them.
make a good. You make a good.
I think they started and they thought they were okay.
They are just shy of being the witches from the movie The Witches. Like they are full.
If there's a kind thing I could say about the movie, I don't know. I think the makeup looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they did this great job. The whole creating Whoville, like it's crazy and hectic and too full.
Oh no,
this is where we're going to split off.
You mean Disney's Toontown?
Disney's Toontown. But there is so much detail in all of it.
I feel like they built one set for Whoville, just like one small soundstage, and then just crammed everyone into it, and then just filmed it from different angles. Dutch angles. Because this is Dutch Angles, the movie. From different, and it just, the result is it feeling so uncomfortable and claustrophobic. And when there were these big sweeping CGI, like transitions and stuff, I was like, but like, I was so much more comfortable in the CGI world than I was in the practical world. Because I just was like,
those look good.
Like the mountains and stuff. Like when we're in the Grinch's house, or when we were in Whoville, I like wanted to crawl out of my skin. I was so just uncomfortable and unsettled by it.
You know what? Maybe it was just Jim Carrey, but it reminded me of Batman Forever.
Oh, absolutely.
This is painful.
Lots of this reminded me of the Joel Schumacher Batman movies.
Yeah. You mean just the bad one, Batman Forever? Oh, God. But back to their faces.
Yeah, I think they're in that weird area where they haven't gone all the way, or what
Loren said is what they look like in the book, and that's fair. Maybe they shouldn't have taken it as direct. They probably shouldn't have made this movie. But B, if they were going to make the movie, maybe they should have humanized it a little bit more rather than trying to take it so directly.
Well, that's the thing.
Good, though.
Yeah, I don't think so. Absolutely,
it's cool, but they look grotesque, and since all the Who's are acting so grotesque, it makes them like that much more unlikable.
It was like Eye of the Beholder, or Twilight Zone episode.
And I think, the makeup for both the Grinch and the Who's, which I think like looks great, but the way they play out, because both of them are so unlikable throughout the whole movie, when they have their insta redemptions at the end, I'm not ready for it, because I'm like, I've spent 5 hours hating you guys. I'm just not.
You know what the first time in the beginning when the Grinch does his big smile, that was CGI aided, right?
I don't know.
It felt like it went a little bit
because they slow it down there, I think, for effect. But you're right, it does go so far. And I think maybe that part was
like he wasn't creepy enough.
But you know what? One part that bugged me so much was when at the beginning it shows he does the X-ray part and it shows his heart as being really small, and at the end when his heart is supposed to grow, he doesn't do it. He just kind of zooms into the heart and it comes out. Stupid. The whole
That's
point
not
of
how
that
heart
scene.
works.
This
is not a Tex Avery cartoon.
No, but they did it once. They should do it again. They should be consistent.
No, but
I think he actually had a physical X-ray in that first scene, and I think they decided it would be weird to bring in the cartoon,
That would have been funny if
but they should have, like
like
in
a
the
Who,
cartoon.
like one of the toys fell out. It was from the Who's, and it was like home X-ray kit, and it fell on his chest.
Because I think there are lots of moments in the movie that are like Chuck Jones. Every time Jim Carrey turns to the camera and does a direct address.
I hated that.
But it feels like a Chuck Jones, who did the original cartoon. It feels like exactly what Bugs or Daffy would do. And so it would have been very appropriate to have the animated X-ray come in at the very end and show his heart growing.
If you're doing a live action version of this cartoon that everyone has seen, like the part you want to just nail, the part you want to focus so much of your attention on is that scene with the heart growing and with him, and it's just like the movie just rushes right through it like it does everything else and still manages to feel like it's 5 hours long.
Oh, see, I feel like
that movie is
little
just like if you took ADD and you made it into a movie. Like everything is just so frenetic, and like even that part, it's just like spend some time on it. It's cool, like this is the part where he's transforming. We need to buy into it, and it's it does the really lazy heart popping out of his chest, and then like
I actually feel like they're doing a lot in that scene. It might not be the best thing because he gets that Christmas maybe means a little bit more, and then starts going into spasms of his heart contracting and growing, and he's flailing about. And,
then they should cut that part.
I feel like they actually took a lot of time with that scene, but I'm not the biggest fan of what they did with it. No. It was really big. Now that he's feeling for the first time and his face is leaking. But then he gets it and he sees Max and he loves him and they're hugging and rolling and it's like he gets it now.
I think
Max
actually
is
the
his
best
friend.
character in the movie is Max.
oh yeah, Max was pretty
Max
well
is
translated.
great.
Yeah.
Played by Frank Welker.
The only thing I didn't like about Max is when the mayor kisses him in his dream.
Oh my god, that
and
was
he
so
did
cool.
the creepy bug eyes thing.
And then his tail went under his leg and he
like,
scooted, Oh gosh.
They did that whole camera thing. They did a lot of annoying camera things that I hated, like speeding things up. And,
Ron Howard does terrible things with this movie. If he can do any worse things, he does it. He manages to just screw it
I'm
all.
going to grant I don't like a lot of math Danes play, and so that part did bother me.
Which
not
one?
like a what?
Not a lot of math Danes play. I'm not a big fan of that, so that part did bother me.
Excuse me.
The music of Smash Mouth makes an appearance in this movie.
Yeah,
And Bare Naked Ladies, thank you.
Oh, really?
Does
It
it
is
really?
a movie of the 90s. In the very beginning, it's playing on a loudspeaker at Whoville.
Oh no.
It is like a flashback to childhood.
Wow. So the Grinch is raised by a same-sex couple, yeah?
I get the feeling they're like older sisters or old
They're
spinsters.
kind of like
I love-
Swoozie Kurtz
I
and
don't-
what's her name from Pushing Daisies.
Yeah, exactly. They're Lily.
See, I read this as a stern condemnation of same-sex couples raising children, because look what
They
happened.
do a terrible job.
Well, nature versus nurture. He obviously, and it was in his nature to be green. And
You can
weird.
always just, if they weren't same sex, then alternate. Because obviously, when we first meet them, they're having a big key party. And
That's true.
And so it's sort of condemning
There was a key
people
party.
who live alternate lifestyles.
Maybe consumerism isn't this society's biggest problem. It's their sexual mores. Not that there's anything wrong with key parties.
They're really progressive in Whoville.
I
In this
guess.
particular universe existing in a snowflake, they are really progressive. They don't have the same kind of puritanical strictures.
And when the Grinch got there, he was so creepy looking.
He was little baby Grinch was a little creepy.
God.
He was a little robot creepy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, that was with the eyes that are supposed to be cute, but they were not.
No, that was like a horror movie for a while.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It looked like the baby dinosaur from Dinosaur.
I thought the
There we
exact
go.
same- Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Oh God, what else?
Anthony Hopkins is the narrator.
Yes,
it was
looking
nice-
at gravity.
No,
and
it was
port.
nice. It was nice of them to wake him up from his nap.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
there we go.
Yeah, he was so bad.
Because
And
he's not necessarily a bad choice for this, but
No.
he's
Yeah.
just he does seem to be falling asleep, and he does seem to like.
And there's proof too, because right after they do the Grinch's backstory, the being raised by the two women and blah blah blah. It starts out with Anthony Hopkins going, whatever the reason,
His
he
heart
hated,
or his shoes.
He knows the reason. It
But
was because
That's
of
directly from the book. That has to be from the book.
It just felt so perfunctory. Like, it was just there because it had to be there.
And we do a great dissolve from after little Grinch is humiliated by everyone. He runs off to Mount Crumpet, and there he dissolves into his future self, just staring at the town, seething with rage.
with reason. It's like, I get it, Grinch. I totally get it.
Timmy
but then he
hates
grows
the
up.
veil.
But the whole point is you can't live your life in hatred, Bobby. I wish you could learn that from this movie.
I don't think I learned anything.
I felt like I needed to protest Hugo by the end of it.
And I know that people will debate. I genuinely find it funny. I think that even though Jim Carrey does crazy wild, and this is clearly like, not everything's gonna work, he's just sort of going, I find a lot of what he does very funny.
I like Jim Carrey just fine, and I feel like he had probably 5 minutes of solidly funny material in this 6-hour epic.
I don't even think he had a minute of solidly funny material. Honestly,
I will say he does a pretty good Walter Matthau, which is what he did the whole time.
oh my gosh! No.
Kids today desensitized my
I mean,
God.
it flew into Sean Connery sometimes too.
His accent flies about a bit. But just being silly, his stuff with Cindy Lou and the dog, and I love him, his just crazy cartoon face. I think he does a good job.
My favorite part is when Cindy Lou Who falls through the chute and is about to be crushed to death, and he went, well, takes care of that, and then starts walking away. Like the the one hero of our movie totally just being dismissive of the other hero of our movie being so close to death.
But he's not, he's the villain. And this gives him the opportunity to then
Is he the
turn
villain?
around.
How many villains can one movie have?
He's the villain.
Let's ask Joel Schumacher.
Maybe that's a commentary of the movie, that no one's a true villain, that we're all shades of light and dark, and we have to find our way back to being better people.
In which case, yes, this is the
All right,
absolute
then.
most cynical Christmas movie I've
Then
ever seen in my life.
But then we find who we are through Christmas. Christmas makes us better, you guys.
Did it make it better?
It did. The
so.
true meaning of Christmas, when they've stolen the Grinch has stolen everything, and the Who's all realize that all they really need, Bill Irwin as Father Who, bringing us back to the truth, as he should, as I have no doubt that guy sees wonderful wood.
There's a moment, and I hate just going back to like where the cartoon did it really well, this movie didn't. There's the last moment of the movie, the Grinch carving the roast beast in the cartoon or reading the book.
The beast or the beef?
They call it roast beast.
So, because
You want
Okay.
it? Yeah.
Did I miss that? I guess I missed that.
For the past 25 years, you've missed that.
I guess so.
It's like, I don't know, it's just like a great moment, and you smile, and you're like, oh, it's great. He's finally let go of all that baggage, and he's willing to have fun with them. In this movie, I'm just like, oh my god, I'd be miserable if the Grinch was at my party. Like,
Isn't that?
he can't even carve the roast beast without being just relenting and unrelentless and...
Well, then maybe that's the true meaning of Christmas, that you're stuck spending with people who kind of make you crazy.
There we go. And again, then this movie is the most cynical Christmas movie ever made, and I still don't like it.
I will absolutely not argue with you that the book is perfect and that the cartoon is perfect. They're simple and short and what they should be. It is hard, and they don't always succeed in extending that into a full-length feature. And I think that every Dr. Seuss movie actually does that. Of the other three they've made so far, I feel like they all have that problem.
No, I agree, and they do all feel a little bloaty. Like, this one just rockets right past the point of the original source material, though. Like, Cat in the Hat, which is a terrible movie, is about a cat being annoying while these kids are trying to chase him out of a house, and the movie, has this cat being really obnoxious and annoying while these kids are trying to chase him out of the house. And Horton Hears a Who, I think, is probably the best Dr. Seuss movie today, and that captures the feel and the point of the book. The Grinch, it forgoes all the warmth of the source material and just makes this messy, cynical.
I think Horton Hears a Who is a really good example, because Jim Carrey voices Horton.
There was it?
I think he's an elephant, right?
I know what's his name is in it.
Steve
Carell's one.
Carell's in it.
He's the-
Are they the same Who's? I'm sorry.
This is something similar. I was just guessing.
Because they put them in the snowflake, right?
Yes,
So,
but then these Who's are in a...
Well, I mean, like the same
the same
species,
Who's.
I guess.
Is it?
I would
Is
say
it the
they
same?
are. Yeah.
Is it the same universe? Are there several different Who universes all around?
I did make a note of that when it zoomed out of the snowflake at the very end. I was like, oh wait, that would make them microscopic, and you could put them on a little
Yeah.
But
Is it the same little universe?
snowflakes don't last long. And this was their 1000th Whoiversary or whatever
The
that was.
Whobilation, they did have a sign identifying as the 1000th Whobilation, which is a very mass society if by the thousands they are...
Oh, and time can't move fast for the Who's then, because they can talk to Horton in real time, unless Horton, every time he talks to the Who's, is talking to
This is a really good
That's a
question.
really good point.
Unless
so maybe they are
elephants move
different
very
humans?
slowly, too. Very slowly.
I like the suggestion of the movie that there could be billions of different universes, all different and weird, and
And they all
with different
celebrate
temporals. And of course they all
Well, because Horton and the Grinch never cross paths in any Dr. Seuss.
Well, he's in the
material,
jungle, and
Well-
they're like up in the mountains.
Well,
so
The Grinch is in his jungle. He's on a...
the thing.
I'm going to interrupt you right now, and I'm
Yeah.
going to say that Jim Carrey does an excellent job with Horton. And he does
Back to
a
our original point.
terrible
Oh, that's right.
job with the Grinch. And this is a perfect example of him doing a really good movie versus a really bad movie. So, he can do it, and he can be a really good actor. And
Like in this.
Horton, Here's a Who, is animated, so that it's, in all fairness, that is a little bit different.
It's
movie
easier to make
genre.
Who creatures
Yeah,
out
and
of
type.
animation,
You're more willing to
rather
accept.
than...
And with that challenge, I mean, I know you guys have your own problems, but really setting up the world in a live action film is so much harder, and I actually really appreciate this movie for doing that. I know it's a crazy, hectic world, but I think they did a good job with it.
And I was thinking, because it reminded me a lot of the Schulmacher Batman films and its messiness, but I would, like, in alternate universe kind of casting and creating this movie, I was thinking, like, 90s Tim Burton might have been a good pick for this movie.
That would have been a really dark movie.
But his worlds in the original Batman movie and Batman Returns are really messy and kind of chaotic, but he's good at kind of focusing in on story points and
I can see that.
Yeah.
And the worlds feel very real, I feel like, when he does it.
And Jim Carrey often feels like he's doing Beetlejuice's Batman, and you know, like Michael Keaton might have been good as the Grinch too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey, you know what was creepy? A fully naked Grinch talking to Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah, it was weird.
Didn't that
It
weird
was
you
really
out?
weird.
He has
Yes.
fur. He's wearing fur.
He was naked, and one scene later, he was fretting over what to wear. So he does wear clothes.
I absolutely
But
thought
it's
that.
it's like putting clothes on your dog. They don't
was
need
just-
to wear a winter costume, but it's fun and
Are you
festive.
calling the Grinch a dog?
I'm just saying he's a different species, and so he doesn't.
He was fully sentient
First
and
off,
humanoid.
He was socialized in a society where
Right.
everyone else wears clothes.
That's part of what makes him different. He's rejected that, but by the end, he's wearing clothes.
She was a little girl. and he was-
It was their.
Well, he doesn't seem to have
I felt,
any who.
if it wasn't for
business.
I
his
felt
big,
uncomfortable
fat,
every
gentle-
time she was around him, and then by the end when she like kisses him on the face, I'm like, oh god, don't.
It's,
He's wearing
it's-
clothes by then.
So the Who, by the book standard, are they're a very accepting group of people. They accept one another. They value spending time together. Christmas is important to them for presents, but they also they love one another. You get that sense from the cartoon and from the book. This movie, they do not love one another, and they are not accepting because all the babies in their world are dropped down via little bassinets and are dropped at the door. Mm-hmm. Well, the Grinch is also dropped at the door, and so from the time he is born, he grows up there, but they never accept him. So they're just not a warm. I mean,
This is a movie about bullying.
by
Women-
the standards. I mean, if you're gonna judge the Grinch from the books and from the cartoon, then by the same standards, it doesn't really flow very well because
We see so little of the Who world in the books. Like, all we kind of see is the Grinch flashing down to what they must be doing right now. And they're celebrating Christmas. They certainly look very happy, but it is Christmas. Everyone's on mostly best behavior. Certainly, I mean, we can imagine that the Who's have very complicated lives with big emotional worlds, and so it makes sense that they would have their pettiness and their rage, and that they would have these elements within their
I
culture.
don't really
think
think that needs
a
to
lot
be
of-
shown though in this movie, because it's not the point of the movie.
But you gotta flesh
lot of-
out the movie.
a lot of the
If you
impact is
flesh it
lost
out,
in-
I don't think that you would necessarily do that. And I mean,
And I don't think, by and large, that these are bad Who's.
we'll see. But I think what
they're
my
just
point is that they could just, kind of introduce the Grinch as already kind of being an outsider, and then not really occasionally he could come into town and would be scared of him, but not so much that he would grow up and they would make fun of him and then kick him out.
Mm-hmm.
From that kind of angle, it just doesn't really. I mean, none of this movie worked for me, but that angle especially.
I mean, from what you're saying, and I mean, I guess I kind of agree with you, is that because like a lot of the impact is lost by losing the simplicity of the original movie. I don't know how it would be possible to flesh this out into an hour and a half movie and to maintain that, which means that like it probably just shouldn't have been a full length movie to begin with.
That's fair.
I think
Well, I think it could be a lot shorter, and also
30 minutes and made in the 60s. I agree.
Yeah, that would have been that sounds really good.
I think they did make it.
Traditional hand-drawn animation.
Get someone with a really cool voice to narrate it.
Let's
Like
get
who did Frankenstein?
Boris guy.
Yeah.
And then get like Tony the Tiger or somebody in on it. Raven's horse.
He's a
all
really good
rabbits
animated
now.
director
Oh,
who could pull this off.
Oh,
Who does
who's the
the
Looney Tunes guy?
Yeah, him. He would be great.
Is he capable of kind of emotional depth, though? Do you think that he could handle that?
I don't know.
Let's give him a
trust
try.
him. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
What the hell?
Even he fleshed it out. Even the cartoon has,
Yeah.
obligatory action sequence with the sled, and like, I mean,
But
it's hard to adapt a book, is
and
what we're learning.
it did not. It fleshed out things that were already in the book. It did not add plot points. Or
But I appreciate that the movie wants to, especially it's a movie for kids, that no villain just springs up. That, he has a reason for, like, maybe he was a little bit of a jerk, but he has a reason for his true, rage and anger.
And I
and
did
it's
like
not consumerism.
And it's not consumerism.
and maybe I did like now that we have movies like Maleficent, that kind of rewrite origin stories to where they weren't bad at all, they weren't culpable for their actions at all. I like that the Grinch, shows like he's grouchy and it's everything we've come to understand about him, and it tries to make us understand that more. Where he got there. Just really
It
fell
just
apart.
doesn't
Poorly
work for
executed.
you.
I don't think that they understand that he's supposed to be good and bad. If
That the movie doesn't understand?
yeah, like if you're gonna have that backstory to the Grinch, then they needed to flesh out the good part of him. I mean,
I feel like the movie understood that he was supposed to be
supposedly
good
he
and
was
bad.
good at the end, but no,
It's
he's
just
not.
it depends on how it works for the scene. He's either really really good or really really bad.
He's complicated.
Boy, is he
just a
ever?
person.
It's really complicated.
He's a person. He's angry, but he's also lonely, and he is capable of warmth, but it's buried down so deep under resentment, and it's gotta come out. He's just, it's an emotional journey for him. I will admit that my favorite time to watch this movie is during present wrapping or some other activity. Like, I like to have it on, but to sit and watch it, then the hecticness really hits you. It is 90% Dutch angles, which is to create the, like...
I think 90% is a conservative guess. Though.
Yeah.
And a
it's,
lot
I
of
know it's to create the
amateurish
fantasy
camera
world.
effects. Max's reaction shots, where I do agree Max was pretty good, but his reaction shots was
I know, and we're trying to create the fantasy cartoon world by these extreme elements, by the crazy camera angles, by the really hectic world, but I agree that it is kind of a lot.
This movie is if it was made a couple of years later, it would have been just all CGI.
But I like that it's
in
not.
front of a green screen. I'm not, and God help me, I think that might have even been better for it.
Oh my goodness.
It just would have looked more consistent. It would have been claustrophobic, but not in a oh my God, I'm around so many people sort of way.
The movie feels to me kind of like a Christmas play. Like, it does feel like a set a little bit. It feels like we're putting on a story. And I kind of like that element of it. It does feel a little rudimentary. And a little, I will even say amateur. But in a fun way.
If you're gonna build a set specifically for this movie, why not make it bigger? Why make it so tiny? I mean, I get that they're supposed to be small, but
they're in
I
a
mean,
snowflake. It's got to be really.
you could work the camera around to make them feel small. But just make the set feel a little bit more like a town.
Yeah.
I mean, pictorially, it's a small world. In the book, it's really just, small houses around a big Christmas tree. Like, it's not a full, vast metropolis. Maybe they really did want to make it feel like this tight island of who's in
and
the
that's
wilderness.
fine. Like, you could build a tiny town and, like, maybe a couple more streets in it.
You feel like it should have been shot a little more openly.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's seriously, like, around half a cul-de-sac.
It is a 10 square, and then two houses where they have that yard decorating contest.
I definitely could have overlooked all that if other stuff was better.
But you guys, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's about it.
It's an amazing cast. I mean, we're debating about Jim Carrey, but we've got Jeffrey Tambor.
It was much
Christine
less than the sum of its
Baranski's
parts.
in it.
Oh my gosh.
Bill Irwin is amazing.
If you're
It's such a
pitching
great
this movie to me,
cast.
I'm in, and then I don't know, just the execution of it.
I think who is a better villain than Jeffrey Tambor? I think that he's so blustery and stuffy as
Ron
the
Howard.
mayor.
Jeffrey Tambor is terrible.
You think Ron Howard?
I've
is
had Jeffrey Tambor.
What?
I'm not faulting Jeffrey Tambor at all. Or
I just
think
think he's just really bad.
I don't fault any of the actors at all. I think all of them, even Jim Carrey, a lot of stuff should have been cut, but I don't fault him.
I don't
Because he was just throwing it all against the wall. It's
He
not
really
his
was.
job.
And I'm sure he
to
thought an
edit.
editor was going to go through
Right,
and
exactly.
They're not
sift
going to keep
out.
all of this,
Yeah.
right? Oh, they did. Oh.
But no, I agree. I don't think Jeffrey Tambor individually would put in a terrible performance.
I
think
do.
his character was completely unnecessary and poorly written.
I
but-
think his character was all of those things you just mentioned. And also, I think he was bad in it. I don't think he did. I think he walked through this role.
Is this how Ron Howard and Jeffrey Tambor
Right? Do you want to blame?
hook up too? Because
This is
if this is how we get Arrested Development, then I'm fine with it.
Ron
same
Howard
here.
invited his friend Mitch to the set.
Yeah, and even,
You have this movie to thank for that.
But
and even
I
that
mean,
tree guy was Clint Howard when he was the tree guy on Arrested
Well,
Development.
because he's in every
Every
Ron
movie,
Howard
yeah.
movie.
Naturally.
How did they get together?
Yeah, I
That's
know, huh?
weird.
They've just been friends for such a long time.
Do you think that Ron Howard really enjoys Clint, or do you think like their mom is like, "Come on, you gotta"? He's cousin or brother?
They're brothers.
Like,
yeah.
include your brother. Come on,
yeah.
you can't let your brother have a
Sure
role.
feels like the latter a lot.
Aw. I like to think that they're
I think so. I like.
loving siblings who...
I like Clint Howard. I like that
He's a good
always
character
included.
actor.
Yeah,
I think he's really good.
I think he's a perfect two, even without the makeup.
And
walking around
he's a
in,
good
like,
reminder
being
that,
Really,
that
he
Ron
looks-
Howard's directing a movie.
who directed that? Well, Clint Howard's in it, so
There were a few different good lines that I liked. There
What'd you like?
were...
Tell me.
God, we said it earlier. He looks like you in the... Or no, he looks like your boss.
Looks like
I
your
thought that
boss.
was cute.
when the baby.
Cute for like a kid's movie? That wasn't even a throwaway line. That was a punchline of a joke that was thrown out.
There were a few... I like the moth eating the stockings. That's how he did away with the stockings. That was cute. That was clever. I liked the light machine gun that Christine Baranski does to put the lights in her house. That was kind of neat and fun.
Was it Sam?
It was cartoony and fantastical. I love the part where the Grinch
You know what?
pulls the cloth from beneath the tablecloth from beneath all the stuff on the table and
And
it
then
stays perfectly still, walks out of frame, then comes back and messes up the table and knocks it away.
I thought that was kind of cute.
hilarious.
It could just be that my after watching so much of the movie, my standards for humor were really, really
You were
low by
really
that
clinging
point.
to anything.
I watched this scene twice and I felt stupid for chuckling at it both times. But when he's arguing with his echo,
That's a great scene.
you're an idiot.
That's like a classic
It's
joke. But the movie still sucked.
Aww.
that wasn't even funny.
I gotta say, and you mentioned this last night. You looked at me not having fun. You go like, "Well, I'm having a good time," and I want to put this out there. This is for everyone. Our job is not to take movies that people like and make them dislike them. I enjoy that you still like the movie.
Yeah, I don't think
And-
anyone has been converted
Yeah.
in this process. I think we're all still
Neither
defending
way.
what we like.
And Lauren, I think you put forward as cogent and eloquent defense of this movie as anyone could.
Yeah.
And I will not argue that it is flawed, of course, but I'm still having
Oh.
fun, and it's still Christmassy.
Another good line was, "Blast this Christmas music. It's joyful and triumphant." I thought that was cute.
Yeah, it's cute. Sure.
There are lots of moments of begrudging
So,
cuteness.
is everyone's last name who?
No,
Who is somewhere associated in their names? We have Martha May Whovier, we have Mayor Mayhew, we have the Who's, so some people just have simply Who, and I bet there are a lot of those. But who is somewhere involved? Possibly who is involved in too many things, like the Salhutian army that they
What's
have
that?
there. That might be a little much. Like, don't try so hard, guys.
I wish Seuss was a little more like Tolkien in that he could write like a 200-page tome about the naming structures of the Who's.
Well,
Oh god! Wait, you're talking about a guy who named the giant walking tree Treebeard.
why wouldn't it be Treebeard, Sam? Why? Oh, we shouldn't even start talking about.
Hey, look, it's Loren walking on her two legs. Come on. Don't get me started on Tolkien.
The trees aren't imaginative. Okay, the Ents are very. Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
I was wondering, like, so Lou Who and Cindy Lou Who, which again, that's like never mind. But so are they like a prominent family in Whoville?
Well, he's the postmaster for Whoville, so he's probably kind of important.
I mean, is he from like old money? Like, is his family?
I think they're fairly average class.
So okay, so the other Who's, they're not related to that family of Who's. I mean, the other families named Who.
Bobby, that's racist. They're not just because somebody's.
I think it's like Smith. I think it's just a popular name.
Oh, and like Smithville.
When they all emigrated.
Counties over, yeah.
You know, another thing I did like, speaking of him being the postmaster, the Fragile thing. They came down and like smashed the presents and wrote Fragile out. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Again, my criterion was fairly low.
Oh, very cartoon. It was like a live action cartoon, guys.
My favorite part was at the very end when the sled is coming into Whoville, and again, it's like about to run people over because the stakes aren't high enough because we don't buy into just the goodness of it. It was when Lou Who stops in front of the sled and reveals that he has the powers of the Force. And
the sled was already slowing down. Martin Whovier and Lou's wife had like dropped the Christmas strand of lights across the front its path to slow it down.
And so, as a symbolic gesture, he stood and put one hand forward to brace for impact to get his wrist broken.
I kind of did like that, but maybe it was just because of the horrible visual of the Grinch skiing. That looked awful. So I'm like, oh, absolutely anything is better than that. I think one word to describe this movie, cloying. It's just too freaking much.
See, I think the elements of all the sarcasm and the irony keep it above the cloying level for me. Maybe a little too much, maybe a little too heavy-handed, but cloying, only a few moments, really.
Well, I've exhausted my notes. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
2 pages.
We could argue this all night, so let's keep going in circles.
So shall we, I think, deliberate?
Let's say, I wonder what the decision is going to be.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. So yeah, we'll deliberate and we'll get right back to you.
Hello, my name's Carl Evans. I'm just I'm here to tell you, you kids, stay off my lawn. Stay off it. That's it. Thank you for listening. What? Huh? That tells me I have another 30 seconds. Okay. I guess the president, he's doing an okay job. He could be doing a better job, I guess. But, gas prices are going down again. That's nice. Oh man, TV today. What's that? 2 seconds. Stay off my damn lawn.
Okay, welcome back. Loren.
Hi.
Hi. Are you still smack dab in the positive column for this movie?
I still am, and talking about it is fun because I do get to go over all the things that I know there's a lot wrong with it, but it's such perfect source material, and even though the book and the cartoon are better, I think the movie is still a lot of fun. It's perfect to watch while you're decorating the tree or doing, other activities just to get you in the mood, and maybe you can ignore the Dutch angles and the craziness.
How about you, Bobby?
As I said before, Loren, I think you did a fine job defending this movie, but I still hated this movie. I thought it was cynical and uncomfortable and just like a mess. And I feel like the greatest crime it does is it just kind of blows right past the point of the original source material. And so, yeah. My opinion not changed.
Laura?
Yeah, I agree with Bobby. I think you tried your hardest at this defending this movie, but I was so disappointed with this adaptation of the book. It's such a good, sweet story. And this movie just, oh my gosh, it's like you just want to facepalm yourself on what was Ron Howard thinking, and yeah, I don't know.
Well, Loren, I have to agree with you. The source material's fine. And that's about where our agreement ends. So yeah, I didn't care for it. Sorry. I'm so glad you enjoy it, though.
Oh, that's sweet.
I think that about does it.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everyone.
holidays.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Little candy cane. Little candy cane. It's such a Merry Christmas with my candy cane. I feel like celebrating with my candy cane. I taste the peppermint, so refreshing. Feel my mouth cooling down. Rest of the year without my little candy cane. January to November, where's my little candy cane? I taste the peppermint, so refreshing. My mouth feels so cool. I'm feeling hungry like I'm Marlon Brando when I look at my candy cane. I don't need to change that lyric too much, thanks to that big fat man. I stumble through the street, wishing for something sweet. Visions of sugar plums in my head, they just aren't the same. Peppermint swirls are in my eyes. My little candy cane, you shouldn't mess with me. You get stuck all in my teeth. You know I'll sharpen you to a point, then pull back your wrapper, and you will poke me in my tender throat. And when you poke me like that, my little candy cane, I say, oh baby, that really hurts my mouth. I say, I say, ho, ho,